Hey guys, and welcome back. So today I wanted to cover a topic that has been discussed quite a bit in our live streams, and quite frankly, it's all over the internet right now. Anywho, that is Bitcoin, its footprint, and some altcoins right now, which it seems like there's a few that are absolutely exploding because their eco footprint are much, much less. One altcoin that we're going to talk about is actually 4,000 times less. At least that's what they claim. So let's dive right into it. One article I actually found here that is quite good, it seems, is how bad are Bitcoin, Dogecoin for the environment from Yahoo Finance. This is a good short little read here, but there's some really good snippets that I would like to pick out. So before we kind of dive into the nitty gritty, I kind of want to give a little bit of an overview here, and this article does a good job of that as well. So for the Bitcoin industry as a whole is estimated to use the same amount of energy as the annual amount used by the country the size of Malaysia, according to industry observers. Now, Malaysia, some people might not be super familiar, but it says here in the South Pacific, fairly decent sized country. There's also, I was watching this video here from the Independent UK, really good video, and they actually had a really nice size comparison here as well with Argentina, a country that I feel like we might be a little bit more familiar with depending on where you live in the world. But you can see here, terawatt hours, very similar between Bitcoin and Argentina, and this is from data from the University of Cambridge, so very similar there. Let's quickly go back here to the chart. So Malaysia, Argentina, you can kind of get the gist of it. Now, Malaysia and Argentina are very different sizes. That's why I kind of wanted to compare them as well. But this is where kind of the whole discussion really came into the spotlight a little bit. And that's when there was a tweet here by Mr. Musk, or we might as well just say Elon at this point, right here. And this came out, what was that? That was last week on the 13th, which is just like 2 days ago, I believe. Anyway, Tesla and Bitcoin. Tesla has suspended vehicle purchases using Bitcoin. We are concerned about rapidly increasing use of fossil fuels for Bitcoin mining and transactions, especially coal, which has the worst emissions of any fuel. We're actually going to dive into the coal specifically a little bit more later. Cryptocurrency is a good idea on many levels, and we believe it has a promising future, but this cannot come at the great cost to the environment. Sorry, I can't read today. Tesla will not be selling any Bitcoin, and we intend to use it for transactions as soon as mining transitions to more sustainable energy. That's kind of the big point here. We are also looking at other cryptocurrencies that use less than 1% of Bitcoin's energy transaction usage. So we're going to dive into a few of those cryptocurrencies as well. So that's kind of the big thing. That's the big number one concern. That's it. The energy usage is just way too big at the moment. So I wanted to dive here a little bit deeper as well, and follow in the Yahoo article here, and that's kind of where a lot of this energy is being used. So I highlighted a few parts that I found quite interesting. First of all, Bitcoin now represents an estimated 0.59% of global electricity production. Okay, that, it's hard to put into scope, but I wanted to throw that percentage out there just in case in the future we discuss it again. And here's the point that Mr. Musk retweeted. I found it so weird that they say Mr. Musk. Might as well just say Elon. If renewable energy such as solar or wind power was used to drive the energy consumption, it may not have become such an issue for Mr. Musk. Now, but the majority of, and here's the problem, but the majority of Bitcoin is mined in China and is largely fueled by cheap coal power in the Xinjiang region, according to reports. Now, I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. Now, this is delicate region as well, which we're going to dive into very briefly as well. But anyway, almost 2/3 of Bitcoin generated as of April 2020 took place in China. Okay, so 2/3 taking place in China, and then 1/3 of that in China is in Xinjiang, and this is a region that is substantial, here they say notorious in the recent years for treatment of the Uyghur Muslim minorities in the Chinese government. Now, you guys probably are going to recognize this area if you've been keeping up with the news a little bit. This is the region right here, not so far away from the Caspian Sea, but in this area, a lot of desert area here as well, there is big coal production there, so they're getting a lot of cheap electricity, but the overall infrastructure is actually pretty weak. So I was diving into this a little bit, and there's apparently so many blackouts that happen in this region due to crypto mining that the government has started closing down certain mining places. So it's kind of an interesting place to dive into a little bit more. Anywho, this is largely the Bitcoin mining is largely fueled by cheap coal powered by the Xinjiang region. So now we have kind of the what, that is the cryptocurrency is just using a lot of power, specifically Bitcoin, which is around, what was it now, like 46%. Actually, that's a good question. Let's pull it up here. Coin market cap. I think their dominance right now is actually at 40%, so less than I remembered. Okay, so let's go back here and scroll down a little bit. And okay, so what are some of the alternatives going on here? So there's a few alternatives, and this is a company which is based in Houston, Texas, that did this analysis here. They say XRP is actually the least damaging with 0.0079 kilowatt hours per transaction. Dogecoin, which has been popping up a lot from Elon's tweets and Saturday Night Live and all that fun stuff, has a rating here of 0.12 kilowatt hours. So not as good as XRP, but much better than let's say Bitcoin. We have Litecoin here at 18 kilowatt hours and Ethereum at 62 kilowatt hours. Bitcoin is at the bottom of the list at 707 kilowatt hours. And that's because there's so much competition for Bitcoin. And I do want to talk about Ethereum a little bit because Ethereum is planning to make a pretty big move that should help their energy consumption. And I found another article, where was that? Here, actually inside their video, they're talking about Cardano, saying that Cardano, or the ticker ADA, is 4,000 times, I should say, 4,000 times more efficient than Bitcoin. So these are all, pretty big numbers being thrown at us. And there is one more thing here I want to throw up here just to kind of put things in perspective a little bit. So I found here a picture of the carbon footprint per transaction, and it's a little bit zoomed in, so it's a little bit harder to see in this picture. But this is Bitcoin, or it's missing some information, but this is Bitcoin kilowatt or carbon footprint per transaction, and this is Visa. So this is about 800,000 times more efficient, I guess you can say, than Bitcoin at the moment. And this is really the big issue that's kind of popping up everywhere. So let's actually go through some pictures here a little bit and kind of see what the overall stock prices are doing. Because ever since Elon Musk tweeted that on the 13th, which was right around here, this was right after a big dip of Bitcoin. And then a few other coins have been rallying pretty hard. And we all know about the Dogecoin rally that's been going on. But here, Cardano, for example, ADA, this one is doing exactly the opposite. It's been rallying like crazy ever since people were looking into more green currencies. I mean, it's up 50% in the last 3 days here, so that's really good. Litecoin, which usually I feel like is pegged a little bit to Bitcoin. Ethereum doing pretty well. Had that huge blow off top here at 4.5. I wonder if we're going to get a continuation from there. Right now, we're kind of struggling in this area. I wouldn't be surprised if we dip down a little bit, a little retrace before continuation. And then XRP here. This is a tough currency. I mean, this has with the SEC lawsuits, and with the energy consumption coming in, looking really good for it. XRP is kind of one of those where you talk to people, they either love it or they hate it. So that's one of those tickers. Now, a big problem with, let's say, Ethereum, for example, is they're also proof of work. Those are two concepts that just Google, and there's basically two ways that cryptocurrencies are mined and kind of accounted for, so to say. So you have proof of work, proof of stake, and proof of work is the one where you have miners and you use a lot of the energy consumption. Now, Bitcoin and Ethereum both use proof of work, but Ethereum now, they are in the works of moving to proof of stake. Ethereum is moving to a consensus mechanism called proof of stake. This came out on April 16th from proof of work. This was always the plan, as it's a key part in the community's strategy to scale Ethereum via Ether 2 upgrades. However, getting POS right is a big technical challenge and not as straightforward as using proof of work to reach consensus across the network. Now, I was looking around and I couldn't really find any news, any significant news where Bitcoin was looking to move to POS as well. And at the same time, you can kind of think about it, that does make sense, because why would, let's say, miners that just invested in all this equipment to mine Bitcoin now all of a sudden, vote to where they, would pretty much put themselves out of business. So that's, I feel like, the big problem with Bitcoin. I would love to hear your thoughts there in the video description below, and or the video comments below the video. And I'd also love to hear what you guys think are some of the best altcoins right now that are a little bit more green cryptocurrency. And I just put Bitcoin here as a reference, but Bitcoin is definitely not the one that's the green one. Yeah, so let me hear you guys' thoughts. I'd be interested to know. And if you guys want to learn more about what we do here, we go live every morning at 9 a.m. to trade the market open. So I'd love to see some of you guys there. Don't forget to drop a like on the way out. Easiest way to support the channel. I'll see you guys first thing Monday morning. Like always, till then, stay safe and make some awesome trades. Ciao, ciao.